Did you know the US government once injected American citizens with plutonium without telling them? It sounds like science fiction. It wasn't. In the 1940s, the world had just entered the atomic age. The bomb had changed everything. Power, fear, and secrecy collided overnight. And behind locked doors, scientists and military officials were racing to understand one terrifying question. What does radiation really do to the human body? They didn't have enough data, so they decided to get it. Hospitals became testing grounds. Patients, many of them poor, sick, or terminally ill, were selected quietly. They were told they were receiving treatment, an injection, a procedure, a chance at recovery. They trusted the white coats standing over them, unaware they had just signed something far worse than a consent form. Between 1945 and 1947, at least 18 people were injected with plutonium as part of secret government experiments. Doctors tracked how the radioactive material moved through their bodies, how it settled in bone, how long it lingered. The goal wasn't healing. It was measurement. One of the patients was a construction worker who had gone to the hospital after a car accident. He wasn't dying. He wasn't volunteering for research. He simply needed care. Instead, without his knowledge, plutonium entered his bloodstream. Years later, when details surfaced, families learned the truth not from doctors, but from declassified documents. For decades, the program remained buried in classified files. It wasn't until the 1970s and 1990s that investigations uncovered the scope of the experiments. The government eventually acknowledged what had happened. Apologies were issued, compensation offered to some families. But apologies don't erase exposure, and they don't undo betrayal. The justification at the time was national security, the Cold War, the belief that understanding radiation would protect soldiers and citizens. But protection came at a cost, paid by people who never knew they were part of the experiment. That's what makes this story unsettling. Not just the radiation, not just the secrecy, but the trust. Because these weren't enemy combatants. They weren't spies. They were patients. And somewhere in a hospital room, under fluorescent lights, a needle went in, and history quietly crossed a line. We often imagine government secrets hidden in bunkers or buried in deserts. But sometimes they happen in ordinary rooms, with ordinary people, who never knew the experiment had already begun. For more true stories, like, follow, and share.